turn you on a little bit.
Okay. And I work in Bangladesh mainly, in South Asia, some other countries. I also done some consultancy for the World Health Organization. I saw that the wheelchair guidelines, WHO is here. I coordinated the development of that guideline and also was one of the editors. And currently we are developing training packages based on those guidelines. The basic training package is being piloted right now, and the intermediate level is being developed. This morning I will talk about outcomes of assistive technology use and elements of service delivery, and it's based on findings from Bangladesh among hearing aid users and wheelchair users. The findings are based on also draw from a research project called Assistive Technology, Poverty and Rights. We are aiming at understanding the role of assistive technology in reducing poverty and in creating opportunities for people with disabilities to exercise human rights. And this is one step. The background of my presentation today is that little is known about factors that affect outcomes of assistive technology use in low-income countries. And the second thing I want to mention is that provision of assistive technology in these countries does not always involve the users. You may be aware that a lot of assistive technology is distributed in mass ceremonies and mass distributed in ceremonies. Yeah. In large ceremonies, they distribute them, like 100 wheelchairs at a time. So rather than looking at finding rather than finding a wheelchair for a person, they are trying to find people for the wheelchairs.
Right.
What we wanted to see if there is any evidence for actually involving the users in the assessment process. So the question is, what is the relation between outcomes of assistive technology use and elements of service delivery? And the findings that I will present are based on interviews with 139 hearing aid users and 150 wheelchair users. About 2/3 of them are men, mean age about 30 years. Most of them live in villages. I should mention something about Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a little bit smaller than Washington State, I think 85% of the size, but it has about 160 million people. And I don't know how many are here. 6 million or so, or? Pardon? More?
Less.
More? I met a guy on an airplane yesterday, he said about 6 million, so it's like every one of you had another 25 neighbors. To measure outcomes, we need an instrument, and I know that many of you are experts on rehabilitation outcomes, and we decided to use the International Outcome Inventory used for hearing aids. We adapted that by changing the word hearing aid to wheelchair, and then we used the same one for wheelchair users. This inventory consists of 7 questions. The first one is about the duration of use. How many hours a day did you use the assistive technology? And then there are 5 answering options. And for the first question, they range from none to more than 8 hours. The second question was, how helpful is the assistive technology in the situation where you most wanted to use it? And answering options, not at all, to very much. These answering options were later transformed into a score ranging from 1 to 5, where 5 is the most favorable option. Third question is, how much difficulty do you still have in that situation where you most wanted to use the assistive technology? and answering options ranging from very much to no difficulty. Fourth question was if the assistive technology is worth all the trouble, and answering options not at all to very much. The fifth question we asked was how much does your impairment affect the things you can do now when you have the assistive technology? Answering options were very much to not at all. The sixth question was how much are others bothered by your impairment? Very much to not at all. And the last question we asked was how much has the assistive technology changed your enjoyment of life? And answering options range from worse, it got actually worse after I got assistive technology, to very much better. We use a number of predictors, or independent variables, or I'm using them now in this study I've done for this workshop. We had a range of questions, and I just picked a few of them related to service delivery. And one is whether the person was asked questions during the assessment process. That is not always, it doesn't always happen. The second one was were any measurements taken during the assessment process? And then if the person had received any training on using the device. So the first group of questions we asked the respondents was whether they had been asked what type of assistive technology they needed or wanted. Quite a basic question. The second one was if they were asked if they had asked where the assistive technology will be used, at home, at the workplace, or in the school, for example. And the third one was the purpose of using the assistive technology. Then we asked if they had had measurements taken before they were fitted with assistive technology. Measure the hearing, for example, or the body size for wheelchair users. And for hearing aid users, we also asked if they had been measured after they got the hearing aid. The last group of questions relates to training, and we asked them if they had received training in using assistive technology, in maintaining assistive technology, and wheelchair users, we also asked if they had been trained in preventing pressure sores. So these, the answers to these questions we use as predictors for their outcomes. These are the outcome scores in this graph. There are 7 dimensions, and the green line indicate the outcome scores of wheelchair users in Bangladesh, the red line hearing aid users in Bangladesh, and then I added the scores for another 5 countries, hearing aid users in another 5 countries, just so you see where the scores from Bangladesh fall. Those countries are Hong Kong, Netherlands, Nigeria, the US, and Wales. And what we can see here is that users of assistive technology in Bangladesh, they score quite high in all areas except the duration of use. And also we can see that hearing aid users and wheelchair users, their outcome scores are more or less similar, except for one dimension, which relates to the residual activity limitations. That means how much limitations do you still experience after you got the assistive device. And wheelchair users experience more difficulty than hearing aid users, which is partly explained by the lack of physical accessibility. We did some more analysis on that, but that is one of the reasons. This is a table I will not